Hello, all of you vaingloriously wonderful people, and welcome back to my $1 billion garage tour in GTA Online. Today, we join my second character in his 50-car garage on Eclipse Boulevard to take a look at 7 different sports cars and supercars from Bravado, plus we'll visit my first character to check out 2 other racing-themed Bravado sports cars. And it's all worth nearly $10 million. Let's get started. We kick things off with the Bravado Banshee, one of 3 Banshee models showcased today. This is, of course, the OG Banshee, complete with that iconic engine sound and tricky yet fun driving dynamic. And when I say the Banshee is OG, I'm not just talking about GTA Online. We can trace the Banshee all the way back to when it first appeared in Grand Theft Auto 3. It did undergo a bit of an identity crisis in Vice City, appearing to resemble a C4 Corvette instead of the Dodge Viper. That was a short deviation though, and the Viper-inspired design returned in GTA San Andreas. It has been with us ever since and can be spotted in the first trailer for GTA 6. While it has never been the quickest car for GTA Online, it has always been one of the most fun vehicles you can borrow from the NPC traffic. And if you really want a Banshee to go fast, you can take yours to the us car meet and spend nearly $2 million on HSW upgrades. That will add over 34 miles per hour to the top speed and drops around 5 seconds off its lap time. Not bad for a car that has been with us for a quarter of a century. The Bravado Buffalo has a bit of pedigree, but not quite as extensive as the Banshees. It first appeared in GTA San Andreas as a muscle car with a design that seemed to be a mishmash of Camaro, Integra, Firebird, and even Dodge Daytona. It adopted its current design language in the Ballad of Gay Tony and has been pretty much the same ever since. It is clearly heavily modeled after the 6th generation Dodge Charger, which was only 4 years old at the time that the Ballad of Gay Tony was released, and that real-world car could be seen everywhere on the streets of America. That ubiquity is mirrored in GTA Online, with the Buffalo appearing in NPC traffic quite often, making it easy to steal to add one to your car collection. Granted, it is in the sports class instead of the muscle class where it should be, so don't expect it to do much on the racetrack unless you're competing against other K-tier cars. I think Rockstar needs to atone for their misclassification sins by making the police variant of the Buffalo available for purchase. I'm sure they price it at a very reasonable $4 or $5 million. The Schyster Fusilade is one of only 2 vehicles currently available in GTA Online from Schyster. It is very clearly based off the real-world Chrysler Crossfire, and if you had any doubts about that, you only need to look to its name. A fusillade is defined as a number of shots fired simultaneously or in rapid succession. Crossfire, meanwhile, is defined as firing from 2 or more points so that the lines of fire cross. So both names refer back to a lot of gunfire, which feels rather appropriate for a car in GTA Online. This 2-door coupe is one that gets overlooked by many players of the game, and that's kind of a shame because it's not a bad car. It sports a small number of customization options that mostly do a great job of improving its already appealing appearance. Of course, this car is also in the wrong class, sports instead of coupes, so maybe that is why people ignore it. In sports, it is one of the slowest vehicles you can race, but had it been in coupes, it could have been somewhat competitive against the cars that used to lead that class, such as the Zion, Felon, and Exemplar. Oh well, even if it isn't the quickest thing around, I'm still happy to have it in my car collection. The Banshee GTS is the second of 3 Banshee models we will look at today. In fact, of the 9 cars showcased today, 6 of them are either a variant of the Banshee or the Buffalo. Bravado really likes to release a lot of updated models with the same name, I guess. I haven't yet shelled out the nearly $2 million it takes to add HSW modifications to this car, and I'm not certain I ever will. I know it becomes a ton more fun to drive with those modifications, but that is a lot of money for a few giggles. I have the other 3 of the top 4 HSW sports cars upgraded with HSW, so I suppose somewhere along the way I got tired of spending the cash. Even without those upgrades, the Banshee GTS is still a fantastic car to drive, achieving the top speed slightly faster than the Pariahs. It is also a huge upgrade over the original Banshee, offering not only updated styling, but also improved performance and handling. And considering that the GTS costs over 10 times the price of an original Banshee, it damn well better have those improvements. The Bravado Buffalo S is introduced to every GTA 5 story mode player as Franklin's car, so I have styled my Buffalo S to appear fairly similar to his own. In fact, I own all 3 of the main protagonist cars, and you can see Michael's tailgater in the background. But it was Franklin's Buffalo S that I probably spent the most time with in story mode. Going all the way back to GTA 3, one of my favorite things to do in GTA is just ignore the missions and story and instead hop into a car to drive, listen to the radio, and look at all of the details that makes these games feel so alive. With Franklin being my favorite character from story mode, it just makes sense that this is the car I drove most often. It is ever so slightly faster than the original Buffalo, and it makes a pretty nice muscle car noise despite being placed into the sports class. Plus it costs less than $100 to buy it, making it a pretty easy choice if you're looking for something new for your own collection. Before we move on to the next 4 cars, I want to remind you that this is just one video in my growing $1 Billion Garage Tour series. If you want to learn a bit more about the series, then be sure to check out the first video in the playlist. I own nearly 600 vehicles in GTA Online with a combined cost of $1 billion. I am going to feature every last one of them, so if you are a fan of collecting vehicles in GTA Online, then be sure to get subscribed so you don't miss out. And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like button and drop a comment letting me know which car you love or which one you hate. Or maybe just leave an emoji that sums up how you feel about Bravado as a car manufacturer. Also, if you would like to have your own cars featured in the background, join the Vainglorious Discord to find out how you can take part. Now, let's get back to the cars. The Bravado Verlierer is up next, and fun fact, its name in German basically means loser, as in a person who loses in a competition and not some guy who lives in his parents' basement and can't ever get a date. I have never really understood why this car exists as a Bravado, as it does not follow the trend of resembling any real-life car from Dodge or its associated brands. In fact, it is very clearly modeled after a TVR Cigaris. I thought maybe TVR might have had some sort of partnership with Chrysler at some point, but I couldn't find any details. I guess Rockstar just wanted to add a TVR and couldn't find any other brand to put it under at the time. It was added to the game way back with executives and other criminals, and at the time, Progen was the only new manufacturer that had been added to the game since its release. With a $700,000 purchase price, the Verlierer never really made much sense. It was never competitive in the sports class, and while it does have a handful of cosmetic modifications, none of them really move the needle much in changing the way the car looks. I guess this whole discussion is really just academic in the end though, since this car is no longer available for purchase in-game. The Bravado Banshee 900R is a weird one. You take a regular Banshee, a sports car, to Benny's, spend over $500,000 to upgrade it into a 900R, which is now a supercar, and it was never competitive in that class. Had it remained a sports car, it wouldn't have really been all that competitive there either, being about a second off the pace of the top cars at the time. Yeah, it does gain a bit of performance around the track and in a straight line versus the stock Banshee, but it isn't really anything to get excited about. It does give the car a nice wide body appearance and opens up a huge number of visual modifications, so I guess it has that going for it. Maybe Rockstar was just experimenting with introducing wide body cars from Benny's in addition to the lowriders that we can get from there. And it isn't as though I dislike the 900R because I think it's a great car. But given when it was released and how it took a non-competitive sports car and turned it into a non-competitive supercar, it's a model that I often forget I even own. The Hotring Hellfire is one of 3 sports cars introduced for a very specific purpose: to take part in hot ring races. There's just one problem with that, aside from how expensive two of the Hotring vehicles are. The Hotring races are, more often than not, unavailable in the jobs menu. They were one of many job categories that Rockstar archived and reintroduces back for an event week now and then. And that is just incredibly stupid. They said they were doing that to help improve matchmaking, and okay, fine. But to have some fairly pricey cars sitting around that were purpose-built for a job that they can't even take part in is, yeah, like I said, incredibly stupid. It gets even more stupid when you consider that the Hotring cars are pretty cool. They feature a lot of design elements that help them appear very similar to actual modern stock cars, and this one even has the neat little roof flaps that pop up under braking. Granted, that's not how they work in NASCAR, but whatever, they're still pretty great. But the stupidest thing is that these three Hotring cars aren't even competitive against other sports cars, but they are all very equally balanced against each other. Yeah, Rockstar really got it wrong by archiving Hotring races. The Sprunk Buffalo was among a set of cars for what I guess was Rockstar's first attempt at creating stock car variants of existing cars. Each one received a livery that cannot be removed, but share most of the same cosmetic upgrades as the regular version of the cars. Some, like this one, can get roll bars, but the interior remains otherwise identical to the street car that already existed. They do all get a small bump in performance, however, with the Sprunk Buffalo gaining a whopping 2 miles per hour in top speed and dropping about 0.8 of a second from its lap time. I know that there were some story mode races designed around these cars, specifically in the enhanced version of the game on PC and last-gen consoles, and that they were later introduced to GTA Online. And like the Redwood Gauntlet we saw last week, returning players to that edition of the game are able to pick the car up for free. So hey, free car with a livery that cannot be removed that drives pretty much the same as the stock version. I guess free is free? And that wraps it up for Bravado sports cars and supercars in my $1 billion garage tour for GTA Online. Next week, we will be right back here at the 50 Car Garage on Eclipse Boulevard to showcase a dozen trucks, vans, SUVs, and off-roaders from Bravado. Don't forget, if you enjoyed today's tour of Bravado sports and supercars, be sure to hit the like button and leave a comment letting me know which car was your favorite or which one you absolutely hate. And if you want to see all of the nearly 600 vehicles I own, get subscribed with notifications so you don't miss a single video. Until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.